Hi everyone, welcome back again to my YouTube channel today. My name is Osireme. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I made this beautiful Pinafore peplum top. Now this is a very beautiful top. You can wear it in the orange part and you can turn it over to the other side where I have this beautiful black and other colors mixed together. It looks absolutely beautiful as well on the other side. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to cut this and also how to join it together. So if you're interested in this, keep on watching. If you're still yet to subscribe to my channel, please hit on the subscribe button and let's get started.
Party no vex for me. Say I never call you since, but I hope that you are well. I hope your mark is out. Every day I did pray for you.
So guys, for you to be able to make this top, you don't actually need a lot of fabrics. You just need about 1.5 yard of each fabric that you want to use. So I'm going to be using these two different fabrics here. But if you're on the bigger side, I would say get at least 2 yards of each fabric. So guys, first thing I've gone ahead to do is to draft out a basic bodice just from the shoulder to the waist. So this is a half scale bodice. So I'll be marking out the pinafore pattern on the area of the pattern paper where I don't have lines drawn already. Now on the shoulder here, I'm going to come in by 1 inch. Okay, so come in by 1 inch here, but you can decide to maintain the shoulder line if you want to. Now coming down to this waist here, you're going to go ahead and divide your round waist measurement into 8. So my round waist measurement is 24 and that divided by 8 is 3 inches. So I just made a point there at the 3 inches mark. So I'll be connecting from the shoulder, the 1 inch I came in by, and my uh, waist measurement divided by 8, the measurement I got, I just connected the two of them, and now I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. Remember that this pattern paper is in a fold, so by the time we open it up, it's going to actually be wider. So this pattern here is the front because the neckline is deep. So this is what I'll be using for the front and back. I'm just going to go ahead and iron my fabric into two and place the pattern paper on the very edge of my folded fabric for now. This is for me to be able to cut out the back. Now the back is not going to have any opening. So that's why I placed the pattern paper, the folded edge on the folded part of my fabric so that we don't have any opening at the back. Now I'm adding about half an inch stitching allowance all the way around this pattern paper. As you can see, I added to the shoulder area as well and also to the end. Now this is the front pattern, remember. Now for me to be able to get the back neckline, I'm just going to come down by about 1.5 inch because I don't want the back neckline to be as deep as what is in front. Okay, so I'm just cutting this out with 1.5 inch. It's still a round neckline, but it's higher than what I have in front. So now I'll remove my pins since I've already cut out the back pattern. Remember, the back pattern is in a fold. It's not going to have any opening. Now for the front part that is going to have an opening, I'm also going to fold my fabric into two again. I'm placing this front pattern paper on it. I'm going to go ahead and pin it down. But notice that even the center front on this particular pattern, I'm going to be cutting it into two. So I'm just cutting every single part. I just added half an inch stitching allowance all the way around. And in the center, I have an opening. So the back doesn't have this opening. Now for the bottom of our dress, which is going to be a flare, I am cutting out a 720 degrees flare. I am going to be posting a whole video next on how to go about 720 degrees flare. This is 720 degrees. That's why you're seeing me. I cut out two different flares for each fabric. You can see there are two different small flares. So this is everything I need for the first part, the black part. I am going to go ahead and also cut out everything I've cut out on the black on the orange fabric, which is what I've done here. So if you want to use the 360 degrees flare that I already have on the channel, you can go ahead and do that. But I'll be sharing a video on how to go about the 720 degrees flare next. That will be the next video we'll be seeing on the channel. So I've gone ahead to iron hairstay to all the pieces I have here. You see this part here, this is the back patterns. As you can see, I've ironed my hairstay. All the circles here, I've also gone ahead to iron my hairstay as well. So now each piece have been ironed well with hairstay, every single part. Now I'm going to join the front and the back pinafore areas together on the shoulders. I am going ahead to pin it down. As you can see, I am just going to pin this down and stitch down the shoulders. For the flare, I am going to be cutting them out. So I'll just cut out one part of each flare like this. You can see. Now I'll do the same thing for the other side because we are going to be joining these two pieces together. So I'll go ahead and just join them together like this. I will first of all pin it down, just like you see me doing like this. And I'll also go ahead and stitch this area down. So I'll stitch here and also on the shoulders here. I'll do the same thing for the orange fabric as well. So guys, I've stitched down the both pinafore pieces on the shoulders, as you can see here and here, for the orange fabric. And of course, I've done the same thing for the black fabric as well. So basically, I'm going to be placing the two pieces right sides facing each other, as you see me doing like this. This is because we are going to be stitching all the way around. I'm going to be showing you guys the areas we'll be stitching. But first, I'm going to pin down this side, as you can see. So I'll just pin down the sides all the way around. Watch what I'm doing. I know it's a little bit fast forward, but you will be able to understand what I'm doing. I'm just pinning it down here. So I pin down the two sides. Now I'm going to stitch all the way across the neckline down to this end, this side, and then this side. So guys, I am done stitching around. You can see the areas I stitched down. So I didn't stitch this, and also this. You don't have to stitch these areas down. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excesses around the sides, the areas I've stitched down. I'll make notches all the way around the neckline so that it will be easy for us to turn over. I will turn this over to the right side, and then we're going to go ahead and iron this out properly. So when you're ironing it out, you want to make sure that you arrange everything very nicely so that the other color of fabric is not showing on the other side when you're done ironing it out. So you can see how I am turning the other side. I will iron one side and then turn over to the other side just to make sure everything is nice and clean. So after I was done with everything, this is what both front and back looks like. So you can see how nice it looks. You can turn it over to whichever side you want. It looks really nice. So now for the flare, I've gone ahead to join this area I said I was going to join earlier. Also did the same thing for the orange fabric as well. I've joined it here. So you can see the two pieces. Now this is a 720 degrees flare. That's why this flare is so full. So now for us to get the curve in the center of our peplum, I'm just folding the two flare together like this, as you see me doing. It's very simple. The part where you didn't join, just go ahead and place them down like this, and you're going to just cut in, just cut like a curve. There's nothing, you don't need to draw this, you don't need to make any drawings here. But if you feel like you need to draw it out before you cut it, that is absolutely fine. Just go ahead and make a nice curve, and you can see what I have here. So this is what it should look like on the both ends. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and place the two flare together, right sides facing each other like this. I am not going to be using any crinoline on this one. I'm just going ahead to pin this all the way around. Please, if you want your flare to be reversible, you would not be using a crinoline. In my next tutorial where I said I will share how to go about 720 degrees flare, I might be using a crinoline. But for you to be able to make this top and make it reversible, you do not need to place a crinoline. So as you can see, I had a little excess on the orange fabric. I'm cutting it off, and I'm just going to continue pinning all the way to the other edge, as you see me doing like this. So I'll just continue pinning until I get to this end. I've pinned all the way around my flare, and I am going to go ahead and stitch around this area I pinned down. So guys, when I'm making my stitch around, I'm going to be stitching my hemigum also with it. This is optional. If you do not have hemigum, just go ahead and stitch it like that. The hemigum will just help when we are ironing this out. So you can see I've made my stitch all the way around, and you can see I stitched the hemigum along like I said I was going to go ahead and do. So now I am going to go ahead and just make notches, very tiny notches all the way around this flare. This is because we're not going to be doing any top stitch and all of that because we want it to be reversible. So the hemigum we had inside is going to help. So as you can see, I'm going ahead to just arrange my flare as I iron, turning it over to each side just to make sure that everything is sitting perfectly. So I'm going to do this until I get to the other end. So guys, after I was done, this is what I had. You can see the back, you can see the orange is not showing, and the orange part, the black is not showing. So this is very important. Okay, let's leave this aside for now. Let's come back to the pinafore part. So we're going to be having a 2 inches band on this dress. So from the end of my pinafore here, I'm coming up by 2 inches, and I'm just going to draw a straight line across and cut it off. So we're going to be replacing the 2 inches we just cut off with our band before we go ahead and place the peplum. So let's go ahead and cut out the band. So guys, for the band, I've cut out 2 pieces as well because we are obviously working with these two different fabrics. Now I only iron hairstay to one of the 2 pieces. This is because I didn't want the ropes at the end of the band to be too thick. Okay, now for the length of this rope, I would say that you should make sure it's at least twice of your waist measurement. So make sure it's about twice of your waist measurement. And for the width, I had 3 inches. So now we're going to come back to our peplum. We're going to place it together like this. And you're just going to get the middle of the peplum. Don't mind the fact that mine is very small. I'm a very small person. I'm a size 6. So whenever I make clothes, they are usually very small. So now for the band as well, I've also gotten the middle of my band. So just fold it into two and just make a little notch to get the middle. You're going to do it for the two different colors, okay? So now I'm going to be placing the colors that are going together, right sides facing each other. You can see on this middle point that I got on the band and also on the flare. So these two will go like this, and then I'm going to get the middle of the orange as well, and on the orange part I am going to face it right sides facing each other, all three of them. So basically the peplum is going to be in between the two bands, so I'll pin it down here. So I'll continue pinning all 3 pieces towards the other side. As you can see, you can pin through every part, you can pin everything down, but I just decided to pin down one side, as you can see. So I'm just going to continue pinning this until I get to the end of the rope. Don't just stop when the peplum stops. So see what I'm doing here, I'm just going to continue pinning. Even when my peplum has stopped, I am going to continue pinning just the ropes until I get to the end. So now we're going to stitch this down. We're going to start from this side here. I'm going to stitch from here through to this straight part here into the peplum, and I will do it to the other end as well. So guys, I've stitched it down. So from here down to this place, through to the peplum, all the way to the other end. So now we are going to iron this out. So I'll just bring in my ironing towel. What I'm going to be doing is really very simple. So I'm going to be turning this over to the right side. When you stitch it down properly, you're going to actually understand what I'm doing, because it's going to be very simple. You just turn everything over to the right side. Make sure that you bring out the edges very properly, and you're going to start ironing it out. So you iron the same way we've been ironing everything since. Just make sure to turn it over to the other side as you iron, so that you are sure that the other side is not coming to show on the other side. Okay, so the orange is not showing on the black part, the black is not showing on the orange part. So you can see I've ironed the band, the ropes. Now from the peplum area it becomes a band, so I'm just going ahead to also iron this in. You can see what I've done here. So if you're someone who already knows how to sew very well, you would totally understand what I did here with this band area, and you would know what we are going to be doing next basically. So this is everything ironed out, as you can see. Now I am going to be folding this upper part of the band, this raw edge. I'm going to be folding it in with about ½ inch. I am also going to be ironing it out, so I'll just fold it in like this. I'm sorry, it's a little bit outside of my camera. So I'll just fold it in like this. I am going to iron it in because I'm going to be making a top stitch to finish this up. So I'm just going to continue folding about ½ inch in on the two different fabrics and iron it all the way through around the band. So after it's done, this is what I have. So you can see now the last thing for me to do is to attach the pinafore part of this dress to this flare, because the flare is ready. So I'm going to mark the middle of my flare again, now this time with a chalk, because we don't want to cut out any part of this. Now I'll also mark the middle of my pinafore, which I already did earlier. So I'm just placing the two middles together, right sides facing each other. Now note that we are using the back part of the pinafore. Okay, so I just got the middle. Make sure to align it properly. And when you are placing your pinafore inside the band, make sure that you don't place it in too much. Just let it stop on where you have that your fold from the ironing, just about half inch in. Okay, so just go ahead and pin it down like you see me doing like this. So once you pin it down like this, the orange part will automatically go to the orange part of the flare, and the black will automatically be on the black part. Okay, so let me turn it over now. You see what I mean, and we're even just here to stitch this down. Now for the front part of our pinafore, we are going to be placing it exactly where our flare stopped on the front. Okay, so this is very simple. Just turn it over like this, and you're just going to, it's very easy to do, so just place it inside the band like this, exactly aligning it with where your flare stopped in front. Okay, so I'm just going to place this in just like we did in on the back, just about half inch in. Don't let it go too deep inside, don't make it too deep inside. Make sure it's aligned with the flare and go ahead and pin it down. So I'll do the same thing here. Once you've pinned it down, you're just going to see that, okay, I'm done making this basically. All that is left is a top stitch. So you can see what I have here now. Can you see what I have? You see everything is aligned. So I'll do the same thing for this other side. Just align the center front with opening with the flare that we have here, with where the flare stopped actually. And I'm just going to go ahead and pin this down. So once you're through with this, I know that you must have guessed that we're going to be making a top stitch, because this is the only way we can actually finish this up and it will look nicely. So I'm going to head over to the sewing machine. I'm going to make a top stitch from this top here all the way through into the front here, through the back, and all the way through to this side until I get to the end of the other side of the band. So already you can see that the orange part is oranging and the black part is blacking. Anyways, I'll go ahead and make my top stitch and show you guys the final look. So I'm done making my stitch, and this is what it looks like. This is the final look of my peplum top. Both front and back looks really nice. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in my next one. Bye.